Okay, before I say anything in this video, let me just say, if you can make it work, being in a band is one of like the best experiences, the most fulfilling, rewarding experiences, just overall positive experiences that someone can have. I've played in a few bands, not that many, but a few bands within my career, and during the times when it was working, it was such a good supportive environment and supportive experience. So if anyone out there like has that in their lives, like hold on to that, dig your heels into the ground and don't let go, because that kind of experience is there's nothing like it, really. Now, when I'm saying this, I'm implying that I don't play in a band right now, and I don't. Well, that's only partially true, actually. I kind of sit in with a band to play live. I don't write any of the songs, I just play guitar live with them. But when it comes to like my own music and artistry, I pretty much only stick to solo stuff. I'll sometimes write with other people, but I find that, I mean, if I can't be in a band, I gotta be solo, right? I can't just be looking for bands all the time. Because, like I said earlier, it was good while it lasted, but it didn't last. There was always, like, I mean, towards the end of whatever project I would be working on with people, there would just be, like, commitment issues, and other people had different ideas for where they wanted to take the project, creatively and career wise. And that's okay, you know, people are allowed to have different ideas of how they want to live their life. But me personally, I want to get my music career as big as it'll go, um, within the confines of like I don't sell out. I still have my artistic integrity. But if I can play in a stadium one day, then I'm gonna play in a stadium one day. It sounds like kind of weird to say out loud, but not everyone has that goal. You know, some people they just want to play at at the bar so they can get free drink tickets every Friday or something, every whatever. Um, and that's fine. I mean, those bars need music, so it's fine. But that's not me. And to find uh, three or four other people that are like me who have like the same ambitions, like that's actually really hard. With that, at least with where I'm living, and probably wherever you live, even if it's in like a big music town, it's kind of hard to find people that share the exact same ambitions as you, which is why I said in the beginning, like, if you have that in your life, like, hold on to that, make sure it works out, because that's tough to find. Another thing that I've noticed from being in bands is, like, it's, again, hard to find people who are similar to you, and that includes people who have similar tastes of music in you and similar, like, not only similar, but just compatible uh, inspirations and styles. I mean, so many bands throughout of history have split ways because of creative decisions or creative whatever you call it, creative something, creative conflicts, I guess. And that's a normal human thing, right? To have differing opinions and tastes than other people. But it is so difficult to find people who are compatible in that sense. Me personally, I'm very open minded. I have a hard time hating any kind of music. I mean, I don't like everything, but I would never say I hate anything, I guess. Maybe that's just because I make music on my own, so I know the process really well and know how time consuming and how much effort goes into it. But I'm getting off topic. Uh, Not everyone feels that way. Most people have like a genre or a style that they just don't like. And personally, I think that genre is way too big of an umbrella to dislike or even hate, or yeah, hate or even dislike. Again, people don't have to like everything. They don't have to like every single artist ever, but genre, that's too wide of a net to cast. But strangely enough, like finding people that don't cast those wide nets is also hard. You know, there's some kind of elitism when it comes to people in rock and metal that like they don't like pop music or electronic music. Not always the case, you know. It's probably not. It's literally probably not even majority of the case. Or like people hate on country all the time, and I'm like, well, country is doesn't have to be bad. I mean, that just tells me you haven't listened to enough country. I think it's statistically impossible that there's not one single country song that a person who hates country likes. Did I say that right? And that goes for like any genre. If people don't like rock, like just listen to more rock. You'll find a song, at least one song that you like. Or rap, you'll find at least one rap song that you like. There's so much music out there, and I mean, no one became a better musician by hating a style of music. But going back to the original point, not many people kind of have that outlook towards music, especially if they make music, if they play in the band, right? And again, like you don't have to like everything, right? I keep saying that, but to have an open mind towards other people's ideas, I mean, it's just like interpersonal skills, really, and that's kind of hard to come by, strangely enough. Like, how do you tell someone that you're not really vibing with this idea in a respectful way? Because, I mean, they call it intellectual property for a reason, right? It's part of, I don't know what I'm going on here, but like, how do you how do you communicate with bandmates and just people in general, where it's like, yeah, no, let's not do that. Let's move in a different direction, or like, hey, let's take this idea and then take it in a different direction to evolve in a different way upon that, or even just asking people like, hey, what's the reasoning behind this? What's the idea here? Where are you going with this? To be in a band or just be a musician in general, you've got to have an ego, at least a little bit, but at the same time, it needs to be like a healthy ego. You got to learn when to, step it up and, do your thing, and then when to back down a little bit and just listen. That's a hard skill to have. And I say like musicians need an ego because if like your band has one guitar player, right? You got to be thinking in your brain like I'm a good guitar player. I'm good enough of a guitar player to be the only guitar player in this band. Right? So like you need that kind of ego, confidence, whatever you want to call it, but to kind of keep that in check, that is not something that many people have. I mean, I really have to try to keep it in check, if I'm being honest. It sounds so strange to say out loud. No one ever no one ever would say that out loud, that they have an ego on them, but, here I am, I guess. So I guess maybe that's a good segue onto, like, okay, what am I doing now? Why did I choose to be a solo artist? Why should someone out there choose to be a solo artist themselves if the band thing is not working out for them? I mean, my biggest thing is that full creative control. That is so good for me. And it's kind of strange sometimes to write band-oriented music, like rock or metal or whatever, in a solo setting. But to me, it's almost like if you're going to break that rule of making group-oriented music by yourself, if you're going to break that rule, you might as well break every other rule too, because I guess there are no rules when you do it solo. Kind of that thing about being open-minded, right? I can combine different styles that most people just would turn their noses up at, but it works out, in my opinion. I like it, at least. I feel like disco and heavy metal, or if you want to call it soul, those are like two sides of the same coin almost. They're just so different, where it's like people who like soul don't really like metal, but people who like metal are not really into soul. But to combine those two, it's kind of been really crazy for me to do that myself, because again, there are no rules. I don't have to worry about if, okay, my bandmate doesn't like soul music, okay, we can't do that now, and I don't have to play that off like for laughs or as a novelty, because I mean it's fun to like joke around with your friends and be like, hey, look at this, look how stupid this is, but I don't need to do that. I can just literally write a soul song and then cover it in a coat of metal paint, if you get that metaphor. You do get so much more creative control, and it's awesome. Well, except for the fact that you got to do all the work now, right? I've been a solo artist for maybe 4 years at this point, maybe 5 almost. I don't know anymore. And I would say mainly I'm a guitar player, right? That's what I do. You could maybe also say I was a singer. Now I consider myself a singer because I've had to work on that skill so much, and I do heavy metal, so I've been doing more extreme vocals and getting way better at that. I've had to learn how to like mix and produce and even master a little bit. I can't like play drums, but I know enough to like write convincing drum parts that are possible to play and also sound really good. If I played guitar in a band, I wouldn't have all these new skills. I even started learning how to like scratch on turntables. I would not have those skills if I just played guitar in a band. I think being a solo artist makes you a way better, well-rounded generalist. And that sounds like a bad thing, right? But like how I think about my skills, it's less of like a skill. It's more of like a tool in my toolbox, right? Like one screwdriver on its own, it's just a screwdriver, but using a screwdriver and a wrench and a saw, like I can put all those to work and create something bigger than the sum of its parts. And of course, like making group-oriented music in a solo setting just kind of is a different flavor. It has a different vibe to the music. I fully believe that music is a spiritual thing, at least for me it is. So when you take all these elements that would traditionally be performed by a band and get that out of one brain into a track, it's special in its own way. Part of this argument too is like the idea of just waiting around for an opportunity to find you versus going out and making your own opportunities. I think there's arguments about that to be made. So, in conclusion, I regret nothing. Life is pretty good right now. And with that, I'm out. Peace.